Okay friends, in this video we're going to be talking about the number one thing that you should do right now to get your garden off to the right start this season, all right? And listen, if you haven't watched the first video, definitely just pause this video, go back, watch the first video. It's a great introduction, talks about the importance of having a good plan for your garden and leads right into this video, all right? So otherwise, let's jump right in. Here's the number one thing that I would suggest that you start doing right now to make sure that you're headed off in the right direction for your gardening season. And this is really crucial and important because if you don't get off to the right start, it's just like a race, you know. If you get off behind, you're gonna be behind the whole way through, or it's a lot harder to catch up. I mean, the same thing happens in the garden. So it's important to get off with the right foot, all right? And when it comes down to your garden, the very first thing that you should have in place is a plan for your garden, a plan of what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be planting. And so this is what I want you to do. It's very simple. We're just taking it one step at a time here, very simple. And I want you to make a list of everything that you want to grow in your garden. So, you know, whether that's kale, cabbage, tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant, green beans, just make a list of everything that you want to grow in your garden. And I made it very easy for you. Down below this video, you'll see a couple documents. There's the Ultimate Garden Cheat Sheet. That was the bonus for signing up. If you haven't downloaded that, I would encourage you to download it right away. It's going to save a lot of time. And in it, it has a whole list of different veggies, and you could just go in there and circle the ones that you want to grow, all right? Or along with that, I would suggest that you download, I made an extra bonus worksheet here for you, okay? And you can download that one, and it has a spot in it that you can list everything that you want to grow. And just a little tip, when it comes to deciding how much that you want to grow, I would suggest, especially if you're a new gardener, to start off small. It's very easy to set your sights high and be like, I want to shoot to the moon, you know, and grow 50 different types of vegetables and herbs and whatever. But I would really suggest that you start off small. We've had this experience, and it's one of the I think it's one of the largest pitfalls that gardeners fall into, is that it's easy to plant a lot of things, but then it's hard to take care of a lot of things, all right? Of course, we in our gardening membership, we share techniques and step-by-step methods of making all of that a lot easier. But still, I would encourage you to start off small. So I would say 10, maybe even up to 20 different varieties of vegetables and herbs. At least to start out with. And then as time goes on and you gain more experience, then you know you can expand. But you want to come to the end of the season feeling accomplished and like you did a real good job at your garden and that it looked beautiful. You don't want to come to the end of the season feeling like the garden was your master. You want to be the master of the garden, all right? So what was number one? Is make a list of the different vegetables that you want to grow. I know it seems like a simple step, but it's a very important one for your garden going down into the future. The second thing that I want you to do is to map out your garden area, and there's space has been provided on that same worksheet where you can map out exactly where you're going to put your garden. And maybe you already have a garden area, and that's great. But otherwise, you know, if you don't, then now's the time to figure out where that is going to be. And here's a couple tips that go along with figuring that out. Number one is you want your garden to be in a place that gets the most sunlight, all right? Especially in the summer, your fruiting vegetables like your tomatoes and cucumbers, they need a lot of sunlight to really do well. So you want them to have at least 8 to 10 hours of sunlight during the day. So find a place around your house that you can put your garden that gets the most sunlight, and take into account, you know, the trees and the house and where the shade ends up being most shaded around your house and what gets the most sunlight, and if possible, put it where it gets the most sunlight. Now I realize not everybody has the most ideal spot for their garden, and that's okay. Even if you don't have the most ideal spot, you can still grow a ton of veggies, all right? For instance, your cabbage, your kale, your leafy greens, they can handle a little bit of shade. But the key here is figure out where has the most sunlight, and especially if you're living in the northern hemisphere, that's probably going to be on the southern side of your house. So you can just get out a little compass and look where's the southern side and see if you can find a place that has the most sunlight. The other thing when you're laying out your garden is that I suggest that you grow in beds versus rows. And here's what I mean by that. We grow in a bed that is 30 inches wide and by however many feet long. And there's several advantages to that. One of the big advantages, and I'll put a little graphic up here so you can see, one of the big advantages is that the vegetables, you can plant them in a staggered pattern, and as they grow, they literally shade out the weeds underneath. Hey, that's a little tip for you right there when it comes to weeding. If you plant them in a bed close together and they grow, they'll end up shading out the weeds underneath, and it cuts back a ton on your weeding. Another advantage with growing in beds like this is that you get the maximum amount of production for the space that you have. So you get the most value out of your garden, the most produce, the most harvest out of your garden. So that's a huge plus. And then 30 inches wide is really ideal because there's several tools that are designed specifically for that width. And it also is a width that's easy enough to step over or to straddle or to reach across when you're planting or you're harvesting. So what were the two things? Number one, make that list of vegetables that you want to grow, and number two is map out your garden area. Mark those beds, and you can draw it as fancy as you want or as simple as you want. Just show where your house is, where the garden is, put in some beds, and figure out where your garden is going to grow. If you want to take it to the next step, go out and actually mark out your garden area out in your yard. So go do that right away, and in the next video coming up, I'm going to be sharing with you our entire Gardening to Abundance game plan. This is that blueprint I was talking to you about that is going to show you exactly where to be focusing on your garden. It's broken down step by step, very simple, and yet it's going to give you like a bird's eye picture of your season and what you should be focusing on when in your garden. So that's all coming right up, and you're not going to want to miss it. But first, go fill out the worksheet below, and then go and comment down in the comment sections below and let me know what you think about this. And in fact, you could even share with me what you're planning to grow. That would be kind of fun to see what different people are planning to grow. And don't forget to continue sharing our contest with your friends. You can tell them about this video series, you can tell them about our special Facebook group. If you haven't joined that yet, then there will be a link below this video as well. Go over to Your Best Gardening Ever. It's a special Facebook group just for you all. I share more gardening tips and answer people's questions in there. So jump over there, join the Facebook group, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to keep sharing this with your friends. The more the merrier. Plus you get to earn extra entries in the contest to have a higher chance of winning our full year in our gardening membership, plus our home gardening course on DVD. So definitely go do that right away, and we'll catch you in the next video.